Hello and welcome. So, I'm going to take a look at the Guardian's Quick Cryptic crossword, and this has been published on Saturday the 3rd of May 2025, and I'm sort of very excited to see that we've got the name Pasquale as the setter, because the setter, this is Don Manley, who also sets the Izetti over in the Times crosswords that I put up on my channel, and he is kind of considered one of the best setters around. But it's also a very tough setter. The first few years I was doing crosswords over at the Times, I struggle with his puzzles. It's only recently I've begun to really understand his wordplay and enjoy it. But anyway, so these are the quick crosswords. I go through them very slowly to explain what's going on, and we only have 4 clue types, and we have the smaller grid. The 4 clue types today are anagrams, charades, which is where you take multiple components or words and put them together to make a new word. Double definitions, those are hard if you can't get into them. And then insertions, where normally those are just add a letter. Let's just check what they say. This week they say one thing inside another. Makes the answer so. It doesn't have to just be a letter. In this case, they've used the example of in favour of Republican, entering post office. So post office is PO, R for Republican gives you pro. But it could, as we saw a couple of weeks ago when we had insertions, it can be more than just one letter being added. And that, until I realised that, it gave me problems. Right, I have waffled enough. I am going to crack on. I will go through it very slowly and explain what I'm saying. Just the setting for dodgems. I would think that's a double definition, and the place where you find dodgems is the fair, and something that is fair is just. 3 across, but that's double definition, that's why they can be hard. 3 across. Booze in bed in school. Okay, that suggests to me put a word for booze, which would probably be ale, in a word like bed, in to get to a word for a school. Now, there aren't many schools other than Eton is too short. A bed could be a cot. So I was going to put calot. Don't think that works. Not sure. Now, my thing is just to continue on to the next clue. Get some letters on the board. Display. No longer beside Italian river. Well, the only Italian river I can think of is Po. Display I can think of is to show. No longer is... display no longer beside Italian river. Italian could be IT. Okay, nothing jumping on the bot. Jumping off the page to me, so I'm going to go to 8 across. Textbook in coat. Wow. Now that looks, with the in, makes you think maybe there's a insertion going on here, but there can't, because you haven't got enough words in the clue to say put this into this to get this as a definition. Textbook, hardback, softback. Gosh, manual for a coat. I think this is a double definition, because we haven't got enough words again for an anagram. There's not enough words for a charade. So yeah, double definition. Textbook isn't like a manual, but a coat isn't a manual I can think of. Okay, 10 across. Long letters. Papa, desired changes. Now Papa would normally make me think of a P for Papa in NATO phonetic alphabet, but I'm also thinking there's 4 there and 7 there is 11, and changes could be a anagram indicator, so we could be looking at an anagram of Papa desired to get to a word meaning went missing, which is disappeared, I would say. Disappeared. Now I got to that partly because I was thinking went missing is in the past tense, so I was thinking take out it, put an ed, so there you go. Right, 12 across, another 11 letter word. Sort matinee out. I'm thinking that looks long, matinee out. Matinee is 8 is 7 letters. Sort is 4, and out can be an anagram indicator. Offering little folk to entertain children. Offering. So offering, I think, might be a link word. Little folk to entertain children would be not nursemaids. Nursery school people. Nope. So 14. Story about donkey and girl. Well, a donkey would be something like an ass, I think, and stories come up occasionally, and they can be lies. In this case, which gives you Latty, which is a girl. Data in Foreign Office. Okay, here's a good one. So Foreign Office, I would think, is abbreviate to FO. So then I was thinking, well, if that was FO, what's that leave me in the clue? And then kind of in my brain suddenly went, hang on, data is info. And we've got in the clue, we've got FO for Foreign Office, and data is info, as in information. 17. 6-letter word. Meal is wonderful. So, we've got anagrams. Meal is 6 letters, including extra bit of pudding. If I see sort of including, I'd think hidden word, but we know they aren't in this puzzle. If it's meal is, extra bit of pudding would be, I want to say seconds, but that can't be. Just trying to avoid using the anagram helper at this point, but I may be back for that again. Let's move on to 18, 4 letters. Healthy source of water. Now that is definitely double definition because I know that what we're looking for there is well. The reason I know that is because I've seen it come up a number of times in the past, and one of the things you will find with crosswords is you get repeat clues or versions of repeat clues, old chestnuts, and once you start to get those you can put them in like that. So not a bad first pass, I would say. Let's have a look at the downs. 5 letters beginning with F. Devil. Female 1 meeting death. F for female. 1 would be I. Meeting death. Well, death actually. Death isn't died, isn't devil. What's a devil? I don't think we're looking at an anagram. 1 meeting death. I. No, can't see that. Okay, so let's look at 2 down. I, so yes. I am approaching. That suggests I'm to me. Approaching problem. I like to enforce decision. Problem is a sum normally. I am approaching problem. Problem is a sum. I like to enforce decision is im. Okay, I'm in trouble in this corner because I can't get into it. At the end, so 4 down. At the end of lifetime's work, editor made haste. At the end of lifetimes, could be an E for lifetime. There's a lot of work to do from work, editor made haste. I think we can have a charade of a letter and an anagram, so editor could be work editor. Okay. 5 down. Man given high honour after short time. I thought a short time is a T, and then a high honour is the order of merit. Now, if you know that and you've not seen it in a crossword before, congratulations, because it took me that long to learn that, and a man is Tom, so that's a hard one if you've never heard of the high honour and you haven't got those 2 cross clues. Let's go to 6 down. Crowd, 5 letters ending in D. Crowd, gathering around. We could have an anagram of crowd. That's 5 letters and got a D in it. Gathering around wicked old king. Cool. Wicked old king. Old kings can be things like GR. Crowd. Gathering round. I think we've probably got a word for a crowd. Gathering around, so put an O into something to get to a wicked old king. My word. 9 down. I'm moving on. Suitable program. Program I'm thinking app, especially I've got that's PP. I've got appropriate or something. Suitable as app, I think. Associated with the old location apposite. Oh my word. Okay, I'm beginning to think that Pasquale has missed the brief that this is for beginners and people starting these things. He's meeting the rules, he's got 4 types of clues, he's building them, but this is not how you get. This is the problem that beginners have with cryptic crosswords. They're just words that are too hard. I don't think I even knew what apposite meant, but suitable. Right. 11 down, RNE with some letters. Reunite has those letters. It's 7 letters. We're looking for 7 letters. In orderly way might be an anagram indicator. Attendance to a VIP would be a retinue. Okay. Again, not a word I'm overly familiar with. I do know it. I can't say that would be beyond me, but not one for the beginners, I think. No women or girls cooking meals. We've got 12 down. L in the middle. Meals is 5 letters, and if you cook that, you get males, which is no women or girls. Now that's a nice clue. 13. OLS, second tool used to make seat. Yeah, second. Now that also feels like a good, solid QC crossword. Thus, head of police makes confession. So, okay, thus is so, and head of police is a P, which gives you a SOP, which is concession. Again, something I have picked up occasionally in crosswords. Meal is wonderful. Okay, that isn't. That is not going to be an anagram. Meal is wonderful, including extra bit of pudding. I want to put supper. Supper's a yes. Okay, supper is a meal. So supper is a meal. Wonderful is super, and the extra bit of pudding. So the P of pudding. Now I think for the QC that is very unfair, because even first bit of pudding would have been better there. I think as a clue. That's just. Yeah, you're asking a lot of people if someone's never done a quick cryptic. This is a puzzle I cannot send to my friend who has just started to get into them, and he hasn't done one yet, but I've been giving him clues and things from puzzles. I can't send him this puzzle, and that's disappointing, really. Okay, let's go back to 12 across. Sort matinee out. Little folk to entertain children are marionettes. So yeah, there's my anagram. That's why I leave anagrams to the end, because I can just, with some letters on the board, I have a chance to get there. Now this, I'm approaching problem. I like to enforce decision. I've now realised there's an imposer. You impose a decision on people, and a problem is a poser. So we've got I am shortened to I'm, and poser for a problem. Let's hope and get this one. Display no longer beside Italian river. Well, I think the Italian river would be the Po. Display would be an expo. No longer is X. Okay. Devil must be a fiend. One meeting end. So yeah, female F, one for I, end is the death, and a fiend is a devil. Okay, getting there. Hoping we can get there. Who's in bed in school? Okay, yes, okay, this is a cot. I said a bed could be a cot, and from that I can see that scotch is a type of booze, a drink, and school in this sense is just the shortened version SCH. I have seen it in some of the Guardian puzzles. I'm not used to it. 6 down. Crowd gathering around wicked old king. Crowd. I want to put horde. Horde is a. Why would that be old king? If that's horde, can it be horde? Textbook. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Horde. That'd be hard. Gathering around old wicked king. I don't think so. Harold. Wicked old king. Have a look at this one down. At the end of lifetimes of work, editor made haste. At the end of lifetimes work, editor made haste. Poof. I've got a C, which there's no C in the clue, so it isn't looking for anything to say at the end of the lifetime. Work is an opus, an op. Work is to use. Editor is ED. Okay, editor is ED. Work, I would have said used, but that doesn't work. Made haste. I would say chastened, but Chastened? No, not chastened. Editor made haste. Okay, and this one, textbook in coat. Coat is a... Well, has he done the same as he did before? But in... I don't think he will have done. He's too clever for that. In... Textbook. I think this is a crowd with an O going into it, which is what I thought. But then I thought horde once I put the O in there. To give us a wicked old king. My list of wicked old kings is low. Right, I'm going to put the video on pause and see if I can figure out what's going on. Okay, within about 10 seconds of pausing that, I then went, okay, a crowd is a herd. Put the O into there, gives us Herod, which is the wicked old king in the Bible. What have we got here? Textbook in coat. Coat, primer. So primer is a coat of paint, and a textbook is the primer on something, which just leaves this one at the end of lifetime's work. Working can be on, can be opus. Careered. Made haste, careered. Would that be? Yeah, your lifetime's work is a career, isn't it? And editor is ed. Careered. Okay, I'm going to go through all those clues just to be sure for people. Actually, what I haven't done yet is checked it. Let's check, confirm, check. Okay, yeah, everything's correct, even if it was a little bit hard. Right, I'll go through all these clues because I was doing them as I went. So we've got a double definition here. So something that is just is fair, and the settings for dodgems, where you find dodgems at the fair. Booze, Scotch is a type of booze. We've got a bed, which is a cot, going into school, SCH, the abbreviation for school. A display is an expo. No longer is X, and beside the Italian river, which is the Po. Double definition here, so that was a charade. Textbook is a primer, and a coat of paint, in coat. A coat could be a coat of paint, which is a primer. 10 across, we've got a anagram here of Papa desired, is an anagram of disappeared. Changes is your anagram indicator, and went missing is disappeared. Likewise, we have an anagram here of salt matinee. Out is your anagram indicator, and marionettes are the little folk who entertain children. We've got a story, which is a lie, L-I-E, going about a donkey, which is an ass, to give a girl, which is a lassie. Data is information, so info, that's the definition. We've got in the clue, and FO for Foreign Office. We've got meal, so meal is the definition, meal is supper, which is the answer, and then wonderful is super, including extra bit of pudding, so put a P from pudding into super to get to supper. We've got a double definition here, so if you're healthy you are well, and the source of water is a well. You might say a devil is a fiend, female is F, one is an I, and then one meeting their death is the end. Fiend. I am is abbreviated to I'm. Approaching a problem is a poser. I like to enforce decision is someone who is an imposer. Okay, so we've got something a little bit complicated in the word here, play here. So a lifetime's work is your career, and at the end of that, put editor, so ed. So career ed gives you careered, which is made haste. Man, the man in question is Tom, and the high honour is an order of merit, OM, going after short time, so T for time. Amazingly, putting T for short time to say abbreviate time when most of the time that comes up. Totally unnecessary to say short, but A crowd is a herd, gathering, so taking in an O for around, or round. An O gives you Herod, which is the wicked old king in the Bible. Pasquale does like to have a biblical clue in there, so a religious clue, shall I say, in there somewhere. Suitable is apposite. A program is an app associated with, it's just linking to O for old, and then a location is a site. Reunite is an anagram of retinue. Inorderly way is your anagram indicator, and the attendance to a VIP might be their retinue. No women or girls is the definition for males. Cooking is your anagram indicator that meals is an anagram of males. S for second, that's a standard abbreviation. An implement is a tool. Put them together, you get a stool, which is a type of seat. And finally, thus is so. Head of police is the P, and a concession is a sop. So there we go, all done. Rather tough one. I'll be interested to see what the comments say. Thanks for watching.